Anesthesiologists, what are the best things people have said under the gas? My 9-year-old son going under for his MRI that would show if he would need his right leg amputated at the hip, just as he slipped under. I am a brave boy. I am a brave boy, damn. Broke me then. Breaks me now typing this. What a kid. He is a brave boy. I had a colonoscopy just last month and the lady who administered the propofol and I had a brief conversation like this. Me. How long is that gonna take to kick in? Her. You'll be out in less than 10. I always win. With a big grin on her face I started to feel it immediately after that and followed with, you'll never take me down. I then recall laughing like a maniac. Followed by nothing. I think her quip about always winning and obviously the propofol got me good, haha. I was semi-awake during a hand surgery. The only person I could see was the anesthesiologist. I remember telling him some jokes while I lay there. Then I remember hearing the doctor chuckle on the other side of the curtain. Followed by would you put her the dugout, then blackness. I often have wondered if my hand would work better now if I weren't so damn hilarious. Not an anesthesiologist but was a tech. Had a patient wake up violently. When he came to he said, sorry, I thought I was a shark. This is my favorite one. When I was out for a colonoscopy I had a vivid lifelong dream that I was a Mexican gangbanger. Really shitty life. Last year I had a tonsillectomy and thought I'd have a similar dream this year. Nope. Nothing. Though woke up in post-op puking massive amounts of blood and my only thought was, well, that's a lot of blood, before they put me back under and the doctors were yelling at each other. Happened today. Patient has a broken ankle fixed and was coming out of anesthesia when he was being wheeled out. The anesthesiologist accidentally hit the door frame on the way out. Patient. Did you just do surgery on my leg? Anesthesiologist. Yes, you had surgery and are waking up from it. Patient. Then why are you running into things? Fantastic. He had a valid point. Not an anesthesiologist but my tight-laced, extremely Christian great-grandma apparently asked, who the duck is that ugly son of a BTCH while she was waking up from a surgery. The person she was referring to, her preacher who stopped by to check up on her. She never lived that one down. The story was even told at her funeral. She was kinda strict but she was a great lady with a great sense of humor. Not gas. But right after giving midazolam I had a patient say, wow, this feels like the 70s. And have had quite a few old men ask me out on a date before passing out a few seconds later. When I came out of surgery at 14 I told everyone I was fine and just felt like a Gatorade. Mom got it for me. Opened the lid and handed it over. I took it and maintaining direct eye contact with her I tipped it upside down nowhere near my mouth. Got Gatorade all over me and was super confused. That's where my memory ends. Mom tells me after looking briefly confused I just shrugged and settled back down to fall asleep. I had surgery last year and when waking up they had a communal room where around 78 people would all be waking up at the same time before being sent to individual rooms for some reason. I remember waking up slowly and hearing someone else being asked if they wanted some water. For some reason this really excited me. Like, there was nothing more in the entire world I wanted than to be asked if I wanted water. I practically yelled or as much as I could yell in that state, hey, ask me if I want water. And I'm pretty sure it came out in a let me speak to your manager tone. But I was just so excited about the water. For some reason this made me laugh harder than the others. The only way this could have been more perfect is if they had then asked you, and you had told them no. My anesthesiologist tried to calm me down with a joke when I was a little kid being put under. My mom later told me about how I apparently commented on the joke being not at all funny and how I hoped he was more talented as a doctor. Mine kept telling dad jokes and I apparently said, thank God I'm going to be unconscious soon, as a critique of his jokes. Maybe not the best thing to say to him right before, as he's operating on you lol, but savage. It's a good thing you didn't become a comedian. Anesthesiologist here. I was once transporting a patient to the ICU after surgery, in which he got some ketamine, and he was rocking out the entire way there with his air guitar. I was coming out of general anesthesia after a surgery to repair a broken leg. I woke up in my room with about a dozen very caring, kind friends and relatives who had all come to see that I was okay. I looked around, saw everyone giving shits about me, said, "Duck this" loudly and very clearly, and went right back to sleep. My friends thought it was hilarious. My mom was mortified. Similar story. I was coming out of general anesthesia for an emergency appendectomy. Woke up. My family was all in the room. I remember feeling warm fuzzies that they were so concerned for me, and thought I just chose back off. Turns out, I woke up, surveyed them, locked eyes with my mom, and said, "I told you I didn't just have menstrual cramps." Then passed back out, with a smug look on my face. Less than 3. The mental image dude. Backstory. I have epilepsy and a vagal nerve stimulator to control the seizures. It works wonders. From 3 to 4 seizures a week to almost none a year. I went in for the replacement of my device. Going under, I looked at my mother and started laughing hysterically. She asked what was funny. I said she had horns. And as I was coming out of all the drugs, the nurse was kind of a jackass to me, so I said, "Oh man, the next time I puke, I'm gonna puke on you." I did. He said, "Man, your aim is good. I'm not even mad at you." Took it like a champ. I am an anesthesiologist. I was recently taking care of a 17-year-old kid and he looks at me and says, "Dude, I am high as duck." I almost never remember it afterward. So just an anecdote about being a patient. I had reconstructive surgery on my knee. Midway through the surgery, I woke up. I didn't feel anything aside from my body moving. I saw the surgeon literally wrenching on my knee. I started to mumble something, and that is when the anesthesiologist said, "Go back to sleep, Scraps." I said, "Okay," and I remember nothing else until I woke up in the recovery room. Another surgery later, I was pretty chummy with the surgeon. We joked around a lot. The last thing he said as I was going under with a big smile was, "So we're doing this on the right leg, right?" It was my left. We had a good laugh at my follow-up later. I said exactly that, coming out of getting my wisdom teeth removed. My dad was immediately embarrassed, but the anesthesiologist said it was nothing and that 85-year-old women had had far worse to say. Always made me wonder, though, what do 85-year-old women say? 2 of my fav, both patients coming out of anesthesia. "Am I in hell?" I responded, "No, you're not. You're just in recovery." That sounds like something the devil would say. Count backwards from 100 to prove it, or the one who stroked my unshaved arm while I was trying to keep him from pulling at his IV, and muttered, "You'd make such a great carpet, ETA." Yikes, you people really like hairy arm carpets. I love the implication that the devil can't count backwards. Why do you only shave one of your arms? Not anesthesia, but patient was heavily sedated in ICU. Nurse gave an enema. Half-conscious response. "Honey, you know I don't like it that way." I have a similar story. Colonoscopy. Very prim and proper lady under sedation. As the scope was introduced, she exclaimed, "Ooh darling, you said you wouldn't do that anymore. LMAO." In high school I had a reconstructive surgery on my knee as I tore my ACL and meniscus in a sports injury. After the surgery I woke up in post-op, which was a fairly large room with probably 6 to 7 other patients in beds waiting to become conscious again. I was lying there all groggy and confused when 2 nurses walked over pushing one of those carts with a computer on it. They stood over me and were typing into the computer when one nurse said to the other in a sort of frantic whisper, "We've got to plug this thing in or this one is going to die." Naturally, semi-conscious me thought that the thing was me, and I started to incoherently yell for the nurses to unplug whatever they needed to in order to find an outlet to keep me alive. Turns out it was the battery on the laptop that was going to die. Apparently the death rate for an ACL repair is pretty low. Thank you for watching. Comment happiness if you have reached this far into the video. Have a good day.